All right, so example number 6 here, we have a quadratic trigonometric equation that we need to solve along the domain 0 and 2 pi. Our trick with these is we want to turn the quadratic into 2 linear equations if we can to solve by, we do factor in order to do so. So in order to do that, the trick we're going to use is to make a substitution here to make this into something that looks more familiar for us to factor. So I'm going to say let u equal cosecant x, and then I'm going to substitute that in. So cosecant squared x becomes u squared minus 2 equals cosecant x is u, and I can rearrange this into a form that I can factor by bringing the u term over. So I get u squared subtract u minus 2 equals 0. Now I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to -2 and add to -1. So those are going to be -2 and +1. So that factors to u subtract 2 times u plus 1 equals 0. So now I know my solutions for this equation are u equals 2 and u equals -1. Now unfortunately I'm not done here. I do need to go back and undo my substitution, remembering that u is equal to cosecant x. So for my solution for u equals 2, I really have cosecant x equals 2. And remembering you can now apply our reciprocal identity that cosecant x is 1 over sine x. And I can rearrange this to get sine x out of the denominator. And I'll get that sine x is equal to 1 over 2. Now I want to give exact values to this question, so I'm going to use my special triangle to find the ratio of the sine ratio for the angle of x that's equivalent to 1 over 2. And if I use my special triangles, I will find that that angle is pi over 6. Now, I do need to double check here if there's any other solution at this point. Now, remember that the cast rule tells us that there are 2 solutions for an angle between 0 and 2 pi. So, my x equals pi over 6 is going to be my solution for quad 1. So that angle is in quadrant 1 where sine is positive. Sine is also positive in quadrant 2. So I do need to find my second angle in quad 2, which is going to be pi subtract pi over 6 in this case. Because that's our RAA moved over into the other quadrant that is positive, so that's an equivalent angle. It's going to be the same ratio, and that's 5 pi over 6. So there's my first 2 solutions for u equals 2. Now I'm going to go for u equals -1. So I have cosecant x equals -1, or 1 over sine x equals -1. And I can rearrange that around, and I'll get sine x is -1. Now my solutions for this one, where is sine equal to -1? So for that one, this is a special angle that's not from a special triangle, but we do need to remember that sine is equivalent to -1 at 3 pi over 2. And the way I would think of this one is in terms of the sine function. So sine of x looks like this, where it goes to 1 and -1. And it takes a full 2 pi to do so. So the midpoint here is pi, making the maximum here at +1 pi over 2, and then the minimum here between pi and 2 pi at 3 pi over 2. And this angle only occurs once between 0 and 2 pi, because as you can see, sine is only equal to -1 once in this cycle. So these are going to be our 3 answers here then, that x is equal to pi over 6, 5 pi over 6, and 3 pi over 2.